How does CBD beer affect you? Well, let's find out. Welcome back to the channel, and yes, today I'm going to be trying this. It's called Green Heathen from Northern Monk, and it's a CBD infused beer. I've never had a CBD infused beer or CBD anything before, which begs the question, is it any different to normal beer or any other normal alcoholic beverage? And what's it all about? Because to be honest, I don't really know. Obviously I know what CBD is, but I've never used any in oil form or anything else for that matter. So this is going to be an interesting first time experiment. And yeah, I am going to review the beer as well as give you an idea of what's going on at the time, see if it is any different. And as I said, it's by Northern Monk, who are pretty well known now for being one of the so we say better affordable breweries in the UK at this point. It is a collaboration brew, as a lot of their kind of one-offs and specials are, this time with Green Times Brewing, appropriately named. It's a New England IPA, 7.2%, and that is all I know about it. So let's get this cracked open, but first here is a quick look at the can. That's a quite a different colour. It's very lemony. Smells fruity, lemony, citrus. That is super hazy. I mean, that is properly opaque. You are seeing nothing through that. Do excuse my chair, it's squeaking slightly. Huge grapefruit and lemon citrus hit on the nose. Quite a strong head on that. It's going up my nose, to be honest. Starting to sweeten up a little bit on the nose, but to be honest, I'm not really getting a whole great deal other than that citrus, bitter, grapefruit. Right, let's get into it. Cheers. Wow. Dank, earthy, citrus, grapefruit, bit bitter, bit of twang on the end, bit of citrus twang. Tell you what, now I've taken a drink out of it, it's becoming quite herbal on the nose, let's say that much. Smells a bit like a student bedsit. Okay, I mean, it's not bad, just super dank, super lemony. It's actually quite refreshing, but also quite bitter. Let's do a quick top to bottom taste notes and then we'll take a look at the can. So initially, just a bit fizzy, a bit carbonated on the front of the tongue, not particularly sweet, not particularly bitter. That cuts into quite a clean cut lemon, but at that point isn't quite bitter, it's a little sweet. Then you get what feels like it's going to be a grapefruit lemon juice explosion. And actually it kind of starts and then gets cut by a very dank, herbal, earthy, proper herby note. Finish continues to be quite herby, but gets a bit sweeter, and then a little bit of bitterness across the back of the tongue, and there's a bit of a lingering bitter aftertaste. It's okay. I don't think there's any citra in that, but there could be if it's a blend. It's getting, I wouldn't like to say, we'll find out on the can hopefully in a second, so let's take a look. Northern Monk x Green Times Brewing Green Heathen CBD New England IPA, 7.2%. Green Times Brewing Northern Monk collaboration. Green Heathen CBD New England IPA, a collaboration with Green Times Brewing. Time to unwind. Citra, Mosaic and Columbus, it does have it in. It's quite well masked in this. I can normally pick it out very quickly and I didn't in this. But there is quite a lot going on in there, so that may explain why. Canned in the North with Paul Watson. He is brethren number 45. And his quote is, "I was recently featured on the front page of an international skateboard mag." Great news, Paul Watson. As always, it says, "Hey up, we're Northern Monk. A few years ago, we set out to brew some of the best beer in the world from a damp cellar in the north." I'm not going to complete that spiel because I've said it on every Northern Monk video, but it's basically how they started. It says, "Keep chilled and sup up, it don't get fresher than this." No, and this is pretty fresh. This got released on the 20th of April, which is a significant date if you can work it out. And we're now in early May and I ordered it straight away, so it's really only a couple of weeks old, this. It says CBD cannabidiol, cannabidiol. I don't know how to pronounce that word. You know what I mean. CBD oil. It's 10 milligrams CBD per 440 ml. So 10 milligrams per one of those. I've got no idea if that's a lot or nothing. Infused with CBD. It says THC free. THC is the psychoactive substance in cannabis plants, which this does not contain. This has just got the oil from the plant itself, i.e. the health benefit part in theory. This is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure or prevent any disease. I'm glad to hear it. Keep out of reach of children. I don't think you should ever... well, I mean, there's probably some things that a Northern Monk beer can help you resolve, but probably not under medical advice for sure. Quick description label says juicy, dank and resinous. Yeah, it has got all of those features. So, yeah, that's everything on the can. But how is it affecting me? Well, so far it feels very much like any other beer, but I have probably drunk less than half of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drink this pretty quickly. I'll tell you how it's changed and the normal sort of stuff, and then we're just going to leave it for a while and see how I feel kind of initially after drinking it, and then at kind of a few minute intervals for the next, I don't know, 15-20 minutes. I'll fast forward through the bits where I'm just sat around waiting, and we'll see. What does CBD beer really do to you? While this has been sat still, that is super resinous. Stole that word from the can, obviously, but you know what I mean. That kind of herby, dank, say again, student bedsit-esque aroma. It's all in there. I find the colour very interesting. I mean, it's super... There's the tiniest bit of light bleeding through at the bottom of the glass from the angle I'm sat at, but you really are seeing nothing in there. Taste-wise, it's not changed much. The Citra so far isn't having the normal headachy effects it does with me, which I'm very pleased about. The longer this stays out, I think the more obvious the Citra hop aroma becomes. But this is quite a busy beer. There's a lot going on. There's the several flavours that I guess trying to provoke the thought of the CBD content. So the dankness, the earthy kind of herbal notes, and then it's got the lemon, the grapefruit, there's a bit of sweetness in there. The only thing that's a real dead ringer giveaway for Citra is the slightly off bitter aftertaste, which is something that I think every Citra beer has. It's not too potent in this, thankfully, which I suspect is more down to how it's used in dry hopping than it is just quantity in the initial brew. But yeah, it's not too bad. I can deal with this. While I'm swirling it around, in that bit of light I can see in the bottom of the glass, there's quite a lot of particulate matter in there. It's not. I mean, it might just be carbonation spinning around. Actually, it's so hard to see. It's not like it's not sediment or anything like that. Nothing that big. It's just very small, contrasting colour notes that get swirled around the glass. I think it's probably just the carbonation. I've drank most of it now. Is it having any more effect than a normal beer? I don't think so. I think subconsciously I'm thinking this is mellowing me out a bit. I mean, it even says on the can, time to unwind. It's kind of got that thing. And also, I think, for me, CBD infused alcohol, there was a bar local to me that just before COVID hit in the initial lockdown started doing a CBD infused cocktail. And I never tried it because before I even got back to that bar, everything had shut down. And they had a limit on 2 per customer. Now, I don't know whether that's because there's a safe limit of CBD per person per day. I probably should have researched that before I did this video. But I'm fairly sure Northern Monk wouldn't have put anywhere near the safe amount in one can. And it doesn't say anything on there that I've seen so far about how much you can consume. In fact, is there any consumption notes on here? It doesn't appear so. So, you know, I mean, in theory, I'm guessing it's safe to drink a few of those. But Someone tell me if I'm wrong, and please don't actually try drinking a few of those without checking with the producer first, because I, as we've established, know quite literally nothing about it. Anyway, that backstory always had me thinking, well, is there something about CBD infused alcohol? Feels like I'm talking very quickly all of a sudden, which is quite interesting because I don't normally do that in my videos. Anyway, that story that I just explained had me thinking that maybe there is something about it that means you can only have so much per person and it affects you differently to just regular alcoholic drinks. I don't know if that is the case, of course, and I am very conscious of the fact that I'm talking much quicker than I normally would in these videos, and although not the kind of side effect you would associate with that particular plant. Let's finish this up. That citra is getting a bit more prominent down the back end. I think it's sank. Not sure how it would sink because it's infused throughout, but you know what I mean. It's becoming a little bit harsher, a little bit more obvious at the bottom. So bottoms up. Just before we set this aside and I wait a few minutes and then give you updates over the next half an hour, whatever. That is a really good beer. It's got citra in it. I'm probably not going to buy it again. It's based on Heathen, which is also got citra in it, so it's not for me. I know I've become a meme of myself now saying that I don't like citra, but I just don't. So, but it is genuinely a very good beer, even for me, despite that. So I would recommend you try this if you have the opportunity, if they've still got it on their online store. And at 7.2%, it's not exactly a session beer either, so there is likely to be a few alco quirks, let's say, given how quickly I've drank this, because I probably drank it within about 10 minutes. So what I'm going to do now is, well, first a quick assessment. Do I feel any different? Not really. I'm feeling pretty much as I normally would after drinking a can in that kind of time, so especially at that volume. So I'm going to turn the camera off in a minute, give it 5 or 10 minutes, and I'll join you back with an update like that. Okay, it's been about 15 minutes, and I don't feel radically different to what I would had I necked a 7.2% can of regular beer in a relatively short period of time. But I do feel like I've got a slightly sillier sense of humour. Now, I'm fairly certain this is all psychosomatic because I know the relationship with CBD and cannabis and all that sort of stuff. But it is, yeah, I don't know. I just feel a little bit lighter, a little bit mellowed, a little bit silly. I'm not really sure why. I'm fairly certain it is just, you know, that oddity of the human brain that you tell it something that it's about to receive and it processes it with what it thinks that should be like rather than what it actually is. Maybe it's as a result of having done quite a lot of exercise today, stuff like that, I don't know. But yeah, is it different? I'm going to say yes, but I think it's different up here and not actually in there. So I don't feel like there's any need to continue this video beyond this point, really. If anything else happens, I'll cut it in a second and give you an update. But assuming that's not the case, this is a pretty good beer overall. I would recommend you give this a go if you are interested in this sort of thing. And that is it. As always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it if you haven't already, subscribe if you would be so kind, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.